What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas back with you. It is a Friday. Hey, do me a favor. If you're tuning in from TikTok, let me know if you can hear me and let me know the audio quality on there. We were having some trouble last week. Think we might have figured it out, but let me know. We are coming at you live on clickorlando.com, of course, on YouTube and on TikTok. I'm pulling up some of the comments right now, so bear with me as I get the comments to fire up. What's going on, guys? I mean, we finally have some rain for most of Central Florida. Now, it hasn't been everywhere. We've been talking about that through the course of the week, that I know there's been a lot of comments on Facebook. Hey, you've been saying it's going to rain all week. Certainly, the further east you are, the better opportunity and the more rain you've been able to pick up going forward. So we're going to start things off tonight with the rainfall, with the radar, with the rain that is still going on. And we still have a highly electrified storms off the Atlantic coast, especially off of St. Johns County tonight. Most of those lightning strikes are back out at sea. We have one kind of lone thunderstorm in parts of Osceola County. This is going to be southeast of Point Siena, just south of St. Cloud. We'll turn on the loop there, and this is kind of lift into St. Cloud. So you're likely seeing a light show if you are looking south from Kissimmee, St. Cloud, even Celebration likely seeing that as well. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from tonight. Would love to see where you guys are watching from. It is Friday. It is Mother's Day weekend. Of course, the hoopla is the storm chances this weekend. Now, I want to say something real quick before we get this started. If you have the new 6 weather app, it is free, by the way. You should download that. It will certainly help you plan your Mother's Day weekend. If you're planning on grilling for mom this weekend, watch out for those storms. If you're taking mom to the beach Saturday and Sunday, I really think, on the Atlantic side anyway, a lot of your day is going to be nice. I really do think that, even though rain chances are 70%. So again, my plea to you is to not let the high rain chances that you see on the 7-day forecast or for the day itself deter you from going outside, especially early in the day. We're going to break that down. By the way, above my head, we're taking a live look at Marineland. We are also taking a live look at Port Canaveral. Below my head, every now and then you see the lightning electrify and brighten the shot. There was one of them in the background there in the top of Marineland. That is those live, the live video brought to you from our friends at WeatherStem. Thank you for the use of the extensive network of weather data and weather cameras across Central Florida. All right, so we're going to get into it. We looked at some of the storms that were across Central Florida right now. I want to show you now the rainfall totals, and you can clearly see this is over the past 24 hours. So really what we got this afternoon, really, because most of the heavy stuff last night was already shut off by this point. So I want to show you the big winners, and we had flood advisories here. Now, you may ask, okay, we're in a drought, and we are in a big drought. How can we have flooding? Well, you can get too much rain at once, and that's what we have got today. That's what we may get tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. So even though we're in a drought, we could find ourselves in an excessive rainfall flood situation on a localized scale by the time we get to Monday, especially if you have seen repeated rounds of this heavy rain. So around Port St. John, boy, we were under a major thunderstorm tonight. If you're with us at 6 and 6:30, we were pinpointing this storm that was sitting over you for quite some time. Radar estimates picking up nearly 5 inches of rain, if not even over that. It's going to be, I'm very anxious to see some of the drought numbers tomorrow and then whenever they get released on the weekly report on Thursday, because we've certainly taken a bite out of that in Brevard County. Again, that was just tonight. Let's take a look in and around Mims. Again, same deal, about 4 inches just north of town, about 2 inches get closer to Oak Hill on the Volusia County line. We also had some super heavy rain in Lake County, especially around Mascot, Mineola, Claremont today. Asatula, we were in that the heaviest totals, the largest totals, um, in all that stuff going through. On the YouTube side of things, Eric says, "Hey, first time moving into apartment. Any tips for hurricane prep in an apartment structure, specifically on the second floor?" Yeah, I'll give you my thoughts real quick. I will also say you should tune in to the New Six Hurricane Week. That's going to be Memorial Day week. So really starting on the 27th, and then every day through that week throughout our newscast, we're going to have some hurricane prep tips for you as we get going. The biggest thing is to just, depending upon where you're at, if you're on the coast, again, you're going to want to listen to local officials if they tell you to get out. But really, it's just kind of stay put. And if those tornado warnings are issued, that's really what we're most concerned about, especially being on a second floor. You want to get into that interior room, cover your head, blankets, bike helmet, things like that. If you were to find yourself in a tornadic situation, if a tornado warning is issued as part of that, and then just be vigilant. Have us on, things like that, and we'll kind of guide you through it on a kind of minute by minute, hour by hour basis kind of thing. Prep, I would have your batteries locked and loaded, flashlights, things like that. Um, the canned food that you don't really need microwaves or anything, to just be prepared to be without power. And again, if things get bad enough, you can also, the best place to be if you find yourself in a tornado warning is going to be in the stairwell within your apartment building. If it is indoors, I don't know what your apartment looks like. So lowest level under a stairwell. If you can't get any lower than the second floor, it's going to be always kind of prepare that safe room, innermost room, put as many walls in between the wind, the outdoors, and things like that. So prepare your safe room. And we have a lot of information on that, on how to make it on clickorlando.com slash hurricane. We have a ton of hurricane prep stuff there. Checklists, things like that to get you ready. So that's a great resource there. Clickorlando.com/hurricane. We are in the process of updating it for 2025. All of the stuff that we have on there right now is applicable for the future. So I hope that you find that helpful. All right, so then back to the rainfall, and I get it. This is the gripe. I've seen a lot of it on Facebook. I've been out of town or and off the last couple of days and on assignment, so I haven't been here in this chair at 10 o'clock. However, one of the things that I have seen was, "Oh, you guys are always wrong. It hasn't rained in my house." And I mean, that is true. It has gone some places, and we were talking about this throughout the course of the last few days, that it would not rain everywhere, that the rain would favor along and around I-4 and then to I-95. The brighter the colors here, and we'll get our little query tool out and take a look at some of the rainfall amounts over the past 7 days. But the lighter blues indicate where we've hardly had any rain. I'm looking at you, Marion County, parts of Sumter County, up until today, parts of Lake County, um, even parts of Osceola County, even today, doing a little dodging and missing the heaviest of the rain. But you clearly see there in the orange, and certainly in that magenta and purple, those are the big ticket winners over the last few days. So we'll get in a little closer here, and then we'll get into the forecast, because if you're interested in the Mother's Day forecast and really the severe weather threat over the next couple of days, and I think that severe weather threat ramps up. Monday might be the ugliest day in terms of the potential for some really nasty, damaging stuff. But widespread storms are going to be likely tomorrow and Sunday at a given time. So the first half of the day, get mom outside, maybe plan to do something inside for the second half. I'll show you that timeline in just 1 second if you stick with me. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from, hit that thumbs up button. You know the drill. TikTok, what's going on, guys? We are live on TikTok as well. Do me a favor, if you are tuning in, post in the comments if you can hear me. I want to just check that out for you. Hey, Callie, what's going on? Carlos, hope you're doing well tonight on TikTok. Kevin on YouTube, thanks so much for tuning in from Lakeland. You guys had some pretty nasty storms tonight. So Dabber Tool back out. This is over the last 7 days now, and still the biggest winners here around Edgewater, New Smyrna Beach, Port St. John, that I-95 corridor, because the West Coast sea breeze has been dominant, and that's kind of pushed everything from west to east. From west to east, and that's kind of forced everything to the I-95 corridor. So that's one of the things that we are watching over the next couple of days for that to be the case. So we're going to keep that. We're going to keep that in the back of our minds too, that we're going to be watching those next round of storms come in. So that's kind of where we've been. And I want to show you here too, this is the point that I was making before, that we've hardly received any kind of rain on over the last 7 days. We've hardly seen any kind of rain over the last several days. In Marion County, radar estimating only a quarter of an inch. So huge implications for the drought and all that stuff. So we'll be watching that, just kind of checking to make sure all the stuff with the stream is working. All right. So let me back out here, and we're going to go over, I want to get right into what we could see tomorrow in terms of the timeline of the storms if my thing loads. So there we go through the overnight. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I think we'll see a few extra clouds around. We'll see a few extra clouds around to start. Maybe not as much sunshine as what we saw today. Still, I think it's a pretty decent start to the day. A little muggy out there. And then watch what happens. Still, and this is the point that I want to make, I don't want anybody being caught off guard tomorrow and thinking, okay, it's 1 o'clock. They said it was going to rain all day. No. It's not going to rain all day. I promise you that. It's going to be a great first half of the day, but then keep an eye to the sky once we get to about once we get to the hang on 1 second. Once we get into the afternoon, so there's 4 to 5 o'clock. We had that line of thunderstorms along I-75 pushing through, and then they really blow up and then push from west to east. So there we go, 6, 7 o'clock into the evening. This is when I think things are rocking. So really, I think 3 o'clock things start to fill in along I-75. So most of your beach day is looking pretty good. And then we really see things erupt late into the afternoon. We're widespread 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. And I think we're still rolling into the evening. So maybe dinner along the coast is a little compromised, and really keep an eye to the sky as things get dark from west to east. So there is 5 o'clock on Mother's Day. I think things are starting off. I think things are starting off dry again. Maybe a stray couple of showers if you're going out to breakfast on Sunday morning, going to church Sunday morning. But then we start to fill things back in again into the afternoon. I'm going to have that timeline for Mother's Day coming up again. I mentioned tomorrow it's going to be a muggy start, low to mid 70s, one of the warmer mornings that we've seen so far this season. Hey Paul, what's going on YouTube? Are we pretty much done for the night? Yeah, I think so. Unless you're like in Osceola County, I'm not sure where you are exactly, but I do think you're pretty much done for the night. There are a few stray downpours, even rumbles of thunder out there. Let me get back to the radar real quick. If you're new to the live feed, I have some squirrel moments. So I mean, we're pretty much done, but we kept that 20% shot in for a few of these pop-up storms through the evening. And here's one of them around Tavares in Leesburg and Eustis. That one just popped up. We looked at the radar again. That was not there. So some lightning around the Eustis area. Also, this little guy popping back up again right around Chuliota, north of Lake Pickett. Some heavier downpours around the metro just to the east, closer to Lake Eola. And then this highly electrified guy. And again, the trend will be for these to really wind down through the course of the evening. Coming from the south, Fort Myers to Claremont, you should be good. Let's back up to Fort Myers. Yeah, so if you're traveling, you're looking good from Fort Myers into Claremont. You might have a stray downpour to contend with, but all the rough stuff from this evening is gone. So safe travels on your trip up to Claremont tonight. Okay, so I want to get you to, and I want to show you again the deal for Sunday. So I don't want the high rain chances to scare you. Download the new 6 Weather app. It is free. But the point that I want to make is that it's not a washout, even though you see rain chances at 70% for Sunday. So what the deal is, again, beach day looking good the first half. There's just a few stray showers out there on Sunday. So you may get a little wet, keep the umbrella in the car, church or breakfast. There's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This is where we're really going to be paying close attention. And I'll show you that future radar in just 1 second. Things get angry around I-75 into that 3 to 4 o'clock ballpark. And then it erupts and becomes widespread closer to dinner time and beyond. So maybe taking plans for grilling, especially through the I-4 corridor. Just be on the lookout. First half of the day looking good. Second half a little dicey. So there we go. There's 11 o'clock, and this is what I mean about the stray shower chance. Still, I think most of us are going to be on the dry side. There is 2 o'clock on your Sunday afternoon. Few stray downpours coming in. Otherwise, we're looking good. Then things start to get a little rowdy. So there's 4 o'clock, and then we see the explosion as we get towards 6 o'clock. And then things really start to fire up a little bit more. Again, we're around I-4 to I-75. So maybe a lot of us in Brevard almost completely dry on Sunday. So again, don't really write off Sunday when you see those high rain chances. In Florida, especially, if you're new to the state, welcome. Even if you're a seasoned veteran, when you one thing I ask is when you to to dig a little deeper because I know it's scary if you have plans outside, if you have a wedding or something, if you have plans for Mother's Day, if you're just planning a beach day and you see a 70% chance for rain, it's ominous. I would freak out. But there's always more to the story in Florida. There's the timing of those storms, and then there is the kind of position. Okay, where are they starting? Where are they going to focus? Where are they going to linger? And in the case of the past couple of days, they see that lightning flash around Marineland. So we're still getting those highly electrified storms off our coast. So that's the one thing that I ask is just to pay close attention to those because that'll help your day and that we try our best to make sure that you know where the storms are coming from, where they're headed towards, and where they're going to pop and where they're going to linger so that you can get the best out of the day when we're doing this kind of dodging game when it comes to the weather in Florida in the summertime. Okay, so I have this crazy map popped up. So obviously storms are going to be widespread on Sunday. What I'm watching for though is Monday to get really, really rowdy. And we're looking at the upper level pattern now. This is at about 15 to 20,000 feet above your head. And one of the things guiding this kind of return to the rainy pattern, and by the way, I don't believe the wet season is here just yet. I think the spigot is going to shut off after about Tuesday afternoon. And we might get ourselves back into a really dry situation again. So maybe not the best that we're getting the rain like this because we're going to cause everything to grow and then we're going to abruptly dry things out and maybe for an extended period of time again. So the reason for this big train of moisture, this upper low, a lot of people were making weird pictures on social media, but this is that omega block pattern. So you have upper low here off the coast. You have the Greek letter omega just like that. So low, upper high, upper low. So that's the omega block. And when you get into that pattern, it's hard for things to get pushed until we get the actual jet stream to come down and kind of clear everything back out. So what we have going on here, this is Sunday night, and our upper low has been chilling right along the North Gulf Coast. The wind has been just like this. See those darker red colors and yellow colors? That's the wind speed at about, again, 20,000 feet. So it's pulling in all of that Gulf and even Pacific moisture over and kind of slamming it right into the Florida Peninsula. So when the heating of the day sea breeze storms get going, there's finally a lot of moisture for those storms to play with. And that's where we're getting the heavy rain from. The one thing I'm concerned about on Sunday, and more so on Monday, is the fact that now, and let me put this into motion, we have this upper low kind of pinwheeling a little bit and pivoting. We have what we call a negative tilt. This upper low kind of starts to break off and not be cut off from the actual flow anymore. So we have our upper low there, and then winds aloft are kind of a little stronger out of the south and west. What we can achieve now if we get some kind of surface boundaries going on, I'm getting a little meteorological and scientific and stuff. If we get thunderstorms to develop, they're going to have the potential to kind of spin a little bit. So at surface value, we're going to increase the threat for some damaging wind gusts, and then maybe a little bit anyway, increase the tornado threat on Monday afternoon and evening. So that tornado threat's pretty much been non-existent the last couple of days, which is obviously a good thing because the wind's kind of blowing in one direction in the atmosphere. But whenever we get turning of the wind with height, so say the wind out of the south or southeast at the surface, winds out of the southwest and west, 20-ish thousand feet above your head, that's when we start to get a rolling motion in the atmosphere. When thunderstorms to develop, then we're going to have the potential for these nastier thunderstorms to slide on through. So that's one of the things that we're going to be watching for on Monday afternoon for the storms that have been prolific rainmakers and have been loud and rowdy to maybe have the potential to do a little more damage. Now, the one caveat is it depends upon what Sunday leaves us. If we wake up in the morning and through about lunchtime, we keep some thick cloud cover around, that's a good thing because then we limit the instability. If we limit the instability, that's kind of the fuel for the storms, and we need the sunlight for that. The storms won't grow as tall, and then they won't be able to take advantage of some of the extra wind dynamics, as we call it, what I'm showing you on the screen here, to go forward with. So that's kind of what we're watching for on Monday. So just an early heads up that it's kind of conditional in the sense that if we get sunshine, we could really be looking at a severe weather situation on Monday. If we keep the cloud cover, it might be more isolated to not at all. So we're rooting for the cloud cover early and often and to stick around through about lunchtime on Monday. So that's what we're going to be watching for on Monday. And then we'll kind of get its last push on Tuesday. And then we're going to dry things out. Okay, so if you were with me over the last couple of weeks where we've been doing this 10 o'clock live stream, I've been showing you this nightly. And it's important because we do have some positive gains here. So this is the Keach-Byram Drought Index. This is the index in which most local officials are going to make their decisions on burn ban, on staffing for firefighters, on things like that. This is a direct kind of counting update, a daily update on the drought situation. It is measured daily at different points along the county. And then that number you see there is the average of how deep the moisture is in the soil across the county. Okay. 500 is that critical number. So that is what impacts you. When you get to that 500 number, that's when you see counties start to introduce burn bans across the county. So you see here, a lot of us are still above 500. Now, the heavy rain from yesterday in that small box next to the number. And again, I have the kind of legend up top. The higher the number, the drier the ground is, the easier it is for fires to start and spread, given things like wind speed, relative humidity, and of course, something sparking it. That's the one bad thing about these storms is that they are highly electrified. And while we have these lightning strikes around with everything being so dry, even though it's raining, those can start fires. So that's what we're going to be on guard for over the next couple of days as well. Notice in Seminole County, this is from the rain from yesterday. So this is what happened, the 24-hour change. We've shaved off 85 points from the index just in a day because of how much rain we got yesterday in Seminole County. So we're now down to a much better number of 403. We did big improvements in Orange County from yesterday to today. Same in Volusia County, losing 47 points. Sumter and Lake, man, we need some help. We still gained today. Now, when we talk, I guess we'll see what the change is tomorrow when we talk on Monday. I'm expecting a big change for the positive. That number is going to go lower because of the crazy rain that we got today in Lake County. In Brevard, I see huge improvements because we just showed you those numbers. Port St. John, holy cow. We picked up 4, 5, 6 inches of rain from like just south of Mims to Port St. John. So a lot of good stuff tonight. Again, we want to avoid the flooding, which that is going to be a flood threat over the next couple of days because we just can't handle the rain when it comes that far. All right, I'm going to end with this. And then I got to get ready for the 11 o'clock news. Tune in, me and Ginger, Jamie Say, back on News 6 at 11. If you're not familiar with that, that's on the CBS channel. Find us over there. I'm going to show you the latest update on that high resolution future radar for your weekend coming up. We'll get some new data in a little bit. This is the outlook for rainfall from May 15th to May 19th. So we're going to mid to late May now, and you see the dark brown. The darker the brown, the higher the probability that we're going to keep things below normal in the precip outlook. Watching that carefully because, whoops, what did I just do? I just hit something on the keyboard and went backwards. We could have made things worse. Obviously, we're going to take the rain. But what we don't like to see is a ton of rain to get things to kind of grow and then a complete shut off of the water again and then just to quickly dry it out because that means now there's more vegetation to burn. So that's kind of what we're watching if the rain doesn't come back. Again, this very anomalous setup. And there it is right there. This is the water vapor imagery. So that's the moisture at about 15 to 20,000 feet above your head. This very anomalous setup kind of helped us out a little bit in getting us to rainfall. If not, we would still be dry. So, I mean, this isn't the rainy season yet. And I don't believe it started because we're going to shut things off now. But this crazy little system here is really what changed up the pattern a little bit. All righty, guys. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, if you are watching on TikTok, let me know if you are where you're tuning in from. If you're watching on YouTube or clickorlando.com. That chat box is live all the time. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from. We've been rambling on for about 30 minutes. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, we're here every Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock. Would love to see you back here and interact to post in the comments, again, where you're tuning in from. And if you have any weather questions about the forecast, what it's going to do at your house, or if you just have a burning question, hey, why does it do this? Why does weather act like this? Post in the comments. We will talk on it, whether it's on topic or off. You know me, I go off on tangents. We'll break all that stuff down. All right, guys, have a great weekend. We will see you back here Monday, 10 o'clock in the streaming room. And I'll see you in about 30 minutes at 11 o'clock with the latest high-resolution future radar data so that you can plan your Mother's Day weekend. Have a great day, guys. Catch you soon.